Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie, and today I will be discussing my top 5 board game mechanisms, and I am about 75 board games in, and these are just the ones that kind of stood out to me in these plays. So usually if they're containing one of these from my top 5, I either learn it quickly or enjoy playing it. I just kind of, catch on. So, starting with number 5, that would be dice placement. So we had played games like Bora or Marco Polo that had dice placement, and I really enjoyed those games, especially when you could figure out a way to get the dice that you have and make it the number needed, or trying to figure out how to play the dice that you have. It's kind of like chess to me, where in the game, the dice that you have is what you have, similar to chess, where if somebody takes a majority of your players, that's what you have to work with. And unless you get a pawn to the opposite side, you can't change anything. So that's something I enjoy. Number 4 would be, I kind of grouped these together, so it would be tile placement and tile drafting. So games like Azul, or I believe Carcassonne technically would count as well. I like being able to figure out what I'm going to do with the tiles because it's like a surprise, but even though it's a surprise, you can still figure out how you want to lay them down to get what you need across, if that makes sense. So you maybe want a city, and you see city tiles, and maybe you see road tiles, and you want to keep that person away from you, or you want to make sure that you build your city in a way where somebody else can't connect to it. So I really enjoy that, and that's kind of just how I feel with tile placement in general. Same with Azul. If there's blues and you know the other player may need blues, but you can fit blues on your board, even if it's something that you may not need right that second, it's still fun to be able to take it from them and then not allow them to have all of those points, or maybe you keep them there because they can't take on anymore, and then it drops to their floor. Well, then they gain all those negative points. So that's always fun. So number 3 is deck building. If you are familiar with Dice Jesters, Dave and I do discuss Dominion a lot. We also have a lot of expansions for Dominion, so that's kind of why it always trickles back or resummons back. And with that, I love just building my deck. And when we first started playing, I realized that I tend to build my deck heavy with things that would really clog up my turns. So then I had realized, the trash cards aren't the end of the world. Grab the trash cards, trash the lower ones. It's okay. And after I did that, I had won the last 2 games that we have played. We haven't played since, but now that I kind of feel like I'm playing the game a little bit better, I do feel that I am going to win moving forward. So we'll have to see about that. And number 2, for most of the games that we have played so far in my board gaming journey, they have been worker placement, and I do actually really enjoy worker placement, and that is because I like how in worker placement, when you lay your meeple down or whatever character that they supply as the workers that you place, that other individual usually cannot lay in that place unless there's some special card depending on what game you're playing. But otherwise, I really like that because then it really restricts that round, and you have to figure out how to change your plans, or maybe that's what you decided from the beginning of the game, and now everything has to be turned around. And I like that. I like things that are brain stimulating. So the fact that somebody would take my spot that I wanted, that I thought maybe they wouldn't go for looking at their board, that just makes it fun. And of course, number 1, as of right now, which might be like an underdog. I never really hear people talking about it, but I like Mancala. I enjoy, so 5 Tribes has a bunch of meeples on the table on top of cards, and you pick up however many meeples from a card, and then you go you move it around the board, and then you have to end somewhere that has the last color. So if it's blue, I have to end somewhere that has a blue meeple. So then I pick both blue meeple up. And I like that because I grew up playing Mancala. It's kind of like a little bit of nostalgic for me. And I don't know. There's just something about like just putting things around. Like Trajan, you have your own Mancala circle and just moving it. You could store a bunch up on one and then take it and kind of end the turn faster, because in Trajan, depending on how many times you go about the circle, that depends on how many moves are left in that specific round. So if you go one, then it just moves up one, the other player gets a turn. I believe it goes until 10, 8 or 10 around there. Well, if you max out and keep all of yours in one square, then move that, then the other person really doesn't get a turn. So it's kind of fun and you can kind of plan that way. But it's all up to you. So thank you for watching. And I would love to know your top 5 mechanisms, or maybe your number 1 mechanism. It doesn't necessarily have to be top 5, or maybe top 10, or just list mechanisms that maybe you're looking for somebody to try, because, you know, we're still going through this journey, still figuring games out and stuff. So still perfecting what games I like. And we're pretty open to playing games. They like fit in to something that we haven't tried yet. And yeah, so thank you for watching. If you're interested in learning more about my board game journey, I started playing board games a little over a year and a half ago, and we had started a podcast to document that, and that podcast is Dice Jesters. There we do 10 by 10s, and we also do some in-betweens now for season 4, where we do some resummonings and newcomers to the court. We're jester themed, so that's always exciting. Thank you again, and be sure to play board games with the ones you love.